What's good? It's your boy Logic, the unsung hero. The hero you didn't know you needed. What's good? Been a minute. But I've been getting into my political a little bit. I hate politics. But a part of me does find it interesting to discuss. It's like I'm stuck between still kind of wanting to stay a little informed, but understand the bullshit that is politics at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So I'm watching channels like You Are Here, which pretty political, religious, which I'm not religious, but I'm gonna speak on that in a little bit. But one of my most common statements was like, fuck politics. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because politics in itself is just, I just think, I don't know what the definition of politics is, but I'm assuming it has something to do with the way you go about making decisions or something like that, right? And so politics in itself isn't bad. It's just like our politics are kind of bad. Like, we got Democratic, Republican, liberal, whatever. I really don't know what much of that shit means. You know what I'm saying? From kind of what I'm guessing is more one side's more traditional, and then one's more forward thinking, implementing a little bit newer shit, and then in another group is more about the people, the other one's more about businesses and all this other bullshit, right? When in all reality, most things are going to work probably with a mix of everything. But here's the thing that's wrong with politics and the people that conform to it. If there's a mix of everything, then nobody really gets any credit. Nobody gets to stand out. And even from a political standpoint, I think it's they want to be able to say my side's better, my side's right, your side did this wrong, that's why people should follow my side. But if it's a mixture of everything, it's kind of like, what do you do? Like, how do you fight? Like, there's nothing. Then there's no real debate, So it's almost like a popularity contest to a degree. And then to be honest, I think that's kind of leaked over into the public. People do fight over politics and who you voted for and shit like that. But then we can go a little bit deeper, more down into the personal, and we got these like 500 genders, and everybody wants to be special. And what I think is, really, I've said this many times, if I could snap my fingers and get rid of the internet, I would. Because I guess what they've called the internet is now the metaverse. Basically, the internet is its own form of reality that people kind of like concede to, because their personal life and actual reality is trash, but everybody can kind of put on a persona online and kind of become what they wish they were. They can lash out, do certain things without necessarily getting the type of backlash, or like if they do get the backlash, it's behind an avatar which no one really knows it's really them, and this, that, and the other, right? But what people will slowly start finding out is that eventually the internet is going to start adapting to what actually reality was. Like, if you thought you didn't stand out in actual live action reality, then once everybody confirms to the quote unquote metaverse, you're going to get drowned out anyway, and you're going to be fighting for attention, right? And whereas you could have formed real genuine bonds with people in real life and kind of went out and did things, not just talk and bullshit and send messages, but literally like feel the comfort and warmth of another person next to you, sitting next to you, reading actual emotions off of people, you're gonna find yourself doing a lot of crazy ass shit online just to get likes. You'll come up with hot takes you don't believe in. You'll start posting shit that's kind of crazy because for that geek, nerd, outcast, or whatever that would have been in real life who might have thought they weren't being seen, you're going to start, how that translates into the quote-unquote metaverse or online is you're going to sacrifice your integrity and your morals and values and shit for responses. And it's going to degrade yourself as a human. Like, you're going to lose yourself. And then once you lose yourself, you're going to really start suffering from mental health because you won't really know what to do. Like, you're going to be just as alone as you were in real life as you are on a metaverse. Like, you can try to side with certain fringe groups and this, that, and the other and whatever, but them people only know you as text bubbles. They don't really know you as you, right? And as humans, we were designed to be social. Like, when we were created by whoever or whatever, our physiology was built in mind that we would have interactions with actual people through physical means. Our body, who knows, so many years from now, our body will probably change and acclimate to, online. Like, how will our bodies morph and shit when we literally don't really interact with people in real life anymore? Well, we're getting shit delivered to our house. Oh, we're getting food dropped off. We're getting our, books and equipment and shit dropped off. We really don't ever have to leave the house outside of actually going on vacation and actually wanting to see actual sites, which will be funny because let's say you go out to see other sites and everybody else in other countries are inside in the quote unquote metaverse. It's like what the fuck? Like, it's crazy. Like, we're literally degrading as humans. And then let's not even talk about the moral fiber of society, which has been broken down. And why I said I was going to talk about, I was going to get back to religion is that, yeah, I'm not religious, but I do understand the purpose for it. Everybody needs to have some form of philosophy to like live by, right? And these philosophies need to be tested because you could make the argument that, oh, these people that have these 50 genders and this and that and other, they're living their own kind of philosophy. Well, I say, here's the thing. They're living, they're kind of making it up on the fly, right? And because they're making it up on the fly and there's really no rules or regulations or strict or guidelines to kind of stay in between, there's no focus there. As much as we want to say, like, independent thought, there's a part of humans that need to think independently, but then there's a part of humanity that does need to kind of stick in unison, right? Because we're still trying to build societies. And you can't build a society when not everybody's on the same page. Like, because once you, in real life, like, you have to trust people. You might have to assign a task to somebody and you have to, like, know that, all right, I understand maybe by the way he moves or maybe by through other people telling me, if I didn't know this person personally, they're vouching for his moral integrity. They're like, oh, he's this kind of person. He does this. I know him from church or whatever the case may be. And then we can kind of get a better judgment on people and be like, look, man, I trust you in building this society because your ideals and your morals and shit is pretty solid, right? But when you start including these people that that question their identity and don't know, and they're trying to get you to conform to their way of thinking, and you got to cater to certain things that they like to do and whatever like that. I'm like, it starts to turn into a clown world, and it's like, if I was building a society, I really couldn't use you in my society. Hell, if we gathered all those people that have 50 genders and plus whatever and they made their own society, I don't even think it would function. Because they would probably go at each other's necks eventually, because they probably wouldn't barely really decide on anything. So I understand why we need these, like, a religion. Laws technically are the new religion, but like religion, the laws are changing and starting to degrade along with the people, allowing certain things and certain behaviors to pass, and then restricting certain freedoms. And just like with religion, where it used to be kind of strict about, like, all right, we don't really fuck with homosexuality, and this, that, and others a sin, and whatever. Now they're trying to it's almost like religion has always been up for interpretation, and now it's like all encumbering, and it's losing its foundation, to the point where a lot of people have left religion, and the country was kind of built on it, even though I don't agree with it. But I do, well, I'll say this: I agree with it, but I don't believe in it. I don't know if you understand that. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe in the stories to be true, but I do agree with what it's supposed to do as far as unify the people under one kind of mind. You know what I'm saying? But not if people are so immoral. Women have OnlyFans. They're not prioritizing families. They're going out into the job market thinking that they're doing this, that, and the other. And then most of the times, women do not do jobs that actually help the infrastructure of society. So when pandemic time comes and everybody's hit and the job market's fucking up, the first jobs to go are the jobs that we don't need. If you're not making food, if you're not making resources or whatever to kind of like keep the world running, like if you're not working at a power plant or a mill or whatever the case may be, your job, where you thought you was being a boss babe or this, that, you're now asked out looking for the government to hand out money, or you're going to the quote unquote man that you said that you won't need, and now you're trying to hit him up with a long time stranger text. So, and that's not to shit on girls that want to go out there and work, but it seems like the more we get away from the natural order of things, the more unhappy people be in general. And as far as the natural order of things, look, I would say like this, and this is a crazy take, and it is what it is, right? If I really had to say, like, do women belong in politics, I would technically say no. As far as, because it's already easy to kind of use politics to manipulate emotions and shit, and just that women are just too emotional in general. Now, here's how the world, this is an idealistic version of the world, but if, let's say, morals are intact in this world, right? A woman has, most women, the average woman has certain standards as far as her sexuality and how she would use it and whatever, and let's say her home was intact or whatever, like as far as her mom and dad and shit is there, right? So they have an example of what they think a family should be. If she meets a guy that meets certain metrics, maybe similar to her father, as far as, does he seem like he's a hardworking man? Does he have a good head on his shoulders? Is he staying out of trouble? This, that, and the other. You would obviously make him wait for sex, right? Traditionally, it'd probably maybe wait till marriage or whatever. But what happens if every girl has this kind of like mindset or this kind of strategy? You could say, man, he wouldn't deal with her. Well, technically, every girl that he would go to would put him through the same thing. So what happens is, and how most people think is that usually when people invest in something, they don't want to lose it. They're less likely to kind of give up on it. So what happens is, you kind of force the guy to kind of get to know the girl, because if sex was one of his objectives, by him going through the little hoops and hurdles, he would meet the family. He would maybe build a bond not only with the chick but with his family, like with the father, and then with the father getting to know the dude. He would actually have another stake as far as not wanting to disappoint the father, not wanting any kind of repercussions from the father, and making sure that he treats his daughter with respect. Now, if he stayed the long haul and he saw whatever red flags that that might have popped up, if he did not disengage or work through that stuff, she would be a good candidate for marriage, right? And because he went through all that work, he's not going to probably give up on that. And that's not even telling how strong the bond was built over time, up until the point that he got to marry her and smash. Now remember, every girl would kind of toe this kind of line to where even if he wanted to bounce on her, he would get put through the same rigorous routine just to get to box. He would have to go meet the family. He would have to wait a certain period of time and then get married and whatever. And this would really be considered courting. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams. A little history lesson is that dating used to be illegal because it was thought to be some form of prostitution, because being seen out in public with the opposite gender and it not being your wife or family, it was seen as you trying to proposition a chick. But fast forward, and they found out you can make money off of making guys buy jewelry and flowers and candy and all this other shit. They kind of promoted dating instead of courting, where courting would be you'd have to meet the family and go through those rigorous hoops and hurdles. So what happened is the government literally de-incentivized morality, broke down morality by a fundamental level to where the men give in to that insatiable urge to fuck. See, morality is the one thing that's not animalistic that you can add to the human experience, and it would tame the urges on both sides. A woman's morality would keep her from being enough hoe, and the man's morality would keep him from going out there and trying to be a player. They would actually respect the opposite gender and themselves to the point where there's an end goal in mind. And it would be similar. Hey, get married, start a family, have some kids, and push your teachings onto the next generation, and it would rinse and repeat. The morals and values and stuff you would instill onto the next generation. Now, if this is the world we live in, a woman would not need to be in government. And this is why. And this is just, don't take too offense to it, that it's a man's world, right? A woman's world would exist around the house, the home. And then even further, maybe the neighborhood. Neighborhood watch, family, your actual neighbors. You know how women would get together, maybe have bake-offs and watch each other's children, really build community. So from your household to the community point, that would literally be a woman's world, right? So any laws or things that would get passed, and taxation and shit like that, Really, if a man's on his purpose, see, that would be the man's problem. If a new president was coming into play and he was starting to change shit up and whatever, really it would affect the man. And if it makes it through the man, it would affect the wife. But ultimately, he'd be one of the voters and he would be like, look, man, the things you're trying to pass is going to affect me, which is then going to affect my family. And because I helped build this family, I'm going to do what's in best interest of the family. The woman doesn't ever even have to get involved because she picked using her own morals and judgments and putting them through this. She knows that he has my best interest at heart. He's going to fight for the certain laws and the proposals and stuff like that that's going to best suit his family. Really, the only thing the woman needs to worry about is raising the kids and maybe the shit that's going around in the neighborhood. Like as far as, is the kids bullying this kid, this, that, and the other? Are there arguments between moms and, stuff like that? So while the man's fighting the outside world to make sure bullshit doesn't come inside, the woman would be already inside trying to strengthen and build what's inside. But this would only work in a morally sound society. You don't give the fuck boys and the people that are trying to be players, if you don't give them no shine, they'll die out. If no good woman was wasting their time with the assholes would cease to exist, because they would then see that, man, being an asshole doesn't get me laid. It doesn't get me anywhere further. Then they'll look to the left, look to the right, and they would say, man, this kind of guy got it. He has what I want. So maybe I should change and acclimate to what they're doing and get on board. If women allow immoral men into their lives to get sex, the men that are left outside will only change, conform to the type of man that actually is getting access. Women control access, but you have to have a moral filter. As moral as the women are, or as it will be as moral as the men are. If women sprouted wings and could fly, men would have to build fucking wings and jetpacks to go after them. That's how the world, or that's how the dating game and the sexual dynamics work. We have to follow the woman's lead in the dating market, and then after that, they would actually follow our lead in the relationship market. But that's how it would have to be set up. It would always start from a moral base where everybody is on board with a similar ideology. And who knows, maybe you can make the argument that America was kind of doomed to fail because it's a melting pot of different religions and cultures and shit. And tribalism exists, and as far as our way's the better way, this, that, and the other. You look at other countries where they're all kind of one race. They don't allow a lot of immigrants and stuff like that. I think it's easier to hold on to core base ideals than being influenced from different cultures. Now, like I said, it seems nice on paper. Oh, inclusiveness, this, that, and the other. But really, you've kind of set yourself up to be influenced by other ideas. And then to the point where we have ideas that are coming out of the thin air that have nothing to do with any type of cultural thing. It has to do with actually just emotions and feelings. So now we're at the point where we're kind of addicted to feeling good. No person wants to feel like shit. But at the same time, anyone who's feeling like shit should kind of not wallow in it, but understand why they're going through this shit. Not trying to rush and try to get instant gratification and stuff like that, because once you start thinking, hey, whatever it is I want, it's almost like when people are injecting themselves with heroin and crack and stuff like that. They're trying to escape their reality. And I'll say this, and this is going to be a dumb, weird take. I'd rather all the people that got the mental instabilities and the 50 gender personality stuff, I'd rather them be on drugs. Because at least they couldn't push their drugs on me as far as, all right, when they inject themselves to make themselves feel good, they're not forcing me to accept it. And then over time, they would kill themselves. Like as far as they would OD, they would degrade their own body. But when you're trying to push certain ideologies on me, you're now invading my space with your bullshit. You know what I'm saying? So, and we got to the point where everybody wants to feel good so much that a part of feeling good is converting other people. You know, a drug addict doesn't care if everybody else is a drug addict. They just want to make sure they get their drugs. But when you got these certain weird ideologies, the one thing that makes them feel good is knowing that they converted another person. It makes them feel like they were right. So society is crumbling. Immorality is probably the main thing, and then a lot of other little things sprinkled on top. But it is what it is, and that is the fall of society. And we're seeing it during this pandemic at an all-time high, because it's really pushing people's emotions to the limits. People out here killing themselves and not knowing what to do with themselves, and the world that they once knew is now changing, and we don't know how it's going to turn out after this is all said and done. What will the world be like 5 years from now? The path you thought you were on may not be the same path you'll go down in the future. You know what you thought was your destiny could be something totally different. So it is what it is. We're actually seeing human nature play out in full effect, and it ain't looking too good. But this is your boy Logic, the unsung hero. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.